Hey, what's up guys? It's Mikexingchen. When we go to a restaurant, of course we want to order the best tasting item they have on the menu, right? Because food regrets, that's a demon that will hunt you forever. And of course, every restaurant has specialties, things they're really good at, but there are also menu items that you should 100% avoid. So here are some things you should never order at restaurants. Number one, bread baskets. If you ever go to a restaurant and the bread basket is not free, but it's an appetizer item, never order it. Even if the restaurant claims the bread is real, artisan crafted bread, the high-end stuff, that just means the prices are marked up much higher than if you were to go to an artisan bread bakery. Furthermore, the bread may not even be freshly baked. You think they're gonna just toss out a loaf at the end of the day? The only exception would be if the restaurant was known for their in-house baked bread and that's why they're charging you money, and that's a different story. But otherwise, stay away from any bread basket that you have to pay for. Next up, veggie burgers. Well, I should clarify, veggie burgers that are not made in-house. If you're a vegetarian or vegan and you want a nice burger but don't eat meat, choosing the veggie burger at a restaurant would not be a smart idea. And if you do get one of them, it'll probably be the most expensive cardboard you'll ever order in a restaurant. Number three, Kobe or Wagyu beef burgers. Now, I fell victim to this a lot before I found out what was happening here. Wagyu and Kobe beef are like the Cadillacs of steak. If you want to see my first tasting of a Kobe steak, check out my food channel. I'll put that in my description box. They are delicious and that's why they're priced really high. But when a restaurant says that their burger is made with these ingredients, you have to question whether it's genuine or not. This is because Wagyu literally means Japanese beef. And Kobe is so rare, only 4,000 cows a year are considered Kobe quality, and only about 10% of them are exported from Japan. So if you go to any restaurants and they claim to be serving Kobe or real Wagyu, they're either serving American Wagyu, which doesn't taste nearly as good, or they're lying. Number four, house specials. If you're like me, when you go to a restaurant that you're not familiar with, you typically ask for recommendations, and the waiter will typically suggest that you try today's special. Now, the special sounds pretty tempting because, you know, it's special, and it's not called the special because it's the most tasting thing in the restaurant. It's typically called the special because it's left over, or there's too much of it and the restaurant needs to get rid of it. So these are ingredients that are already limp, they may be expired or about to expire. Basically, they're no longer fresh. And to try to get rid of these ingredients, the restaurant will typically overtop the food with a lot of sauce to kind of hide the expired flavor, or you'll probably get meat that doesn't look like it was made for that meal because it's chopped into all different sizes. Also, since this meal is called the house special, the price might even be racked up. Number five, never order oysters not from a seafood restaurant. For some people, when they hear the restaurant has raw oysters, they immediately order it as an appetizer because for some reason, oysters they're in. Everybody loves oysters. I don't know why. Personally, I think they taste like sea snot. But anyway, to each his own. If you love oysters, you love oysters. Now, ordering oysters from a seafood restaurant near where oysters are caught, where they bring in fresh oysters daily, this is not a problem. But if you're going to a restaurant called Mama Jane's Pancakes and you're ordering raw oysters, then you might die. Because raw oysters, first of all, they're raw, so they can easily go bad. And even if they are slightly expired, they can make you seriously ill. Next, this is something I never ever order: chicken breast. If you're trying to avoid red meat, I understand that, but chicken may not be the best substitute. Yes, chicken is lean, but it's also cheaper and more often in poorer conditions when served at a restaurant. Chicken is typically not the ideal specialty of restaurants not named KFC or Popeyes, so the meat is typically from the freezer. Also, you'll be paying the same price for the meal even though you're choosing a cheaper meat, so isn't that just unfair? And typically, chef specialties never center around chicken because chicken is often referred to as the least interesting choice of meat. I mean, unless it's fried. So try to get your chicken fix from the kernel and not order it in a regular restaurant. Next up, meatloaf. Now, this is heartbreaking for me because I absolutely adore meatloaf. I feel like the meatloaf at the Cheesecake Factory, that's one of the best things ever. Anyway, when you're at a regular restaurant, try avoiding the loaf because it's usually filled with mystery meat, and it might not even be filled with meat. Who knows? This loaf can contain more filler ingredients like cheap oats combined with meat, so it's worth much less than what you are paying. Then you have to kind of think about out where did the meat come from. The meat could have been leftover meat from 2 days ago that the restaurant couldn't finish off. So they just grind it up, put sauce, ketchup all over it to conceal the flavor, and there you go with some mashed potatoes. Also, ignore them when they say house made or even mama's home style. Please, don't insult your mother. Number 8, pizza. Now, having lived in New York City for over 10 years, I'm now officially a pizza snob. I'm really picky with what type of pizza I want, and you should be too, especially if you're at a restaurant that doesn't specialize in pizza. Many restaurants have pizza on their menu because the ingredients used are cheap and they're able to mark up the price. Also, restaurants tend to make their menu choices at around the same price as to not sway you to go with something cheaper and to prove that all their ingredients used are high quality. But that's not always true. So if you're eating at a really expensive steakhouse and you want to order a pizza, then instead of paying $12, $15 for the pizza, you might be paying $30. So the smart thing to do is before you go to a restaurant, do some research. It's really easy. Grab your Yelp app, search around, see what the restaurant specialties are. And don't just rely on the waiter to tell you what's good. Guys, I'm sharing this video with you because I believe in one thing. I believe that no meal should be wasted. I mean, there is a finite number of meals we can consume in our lifetimes, and I want you guys to have something delicious for every one of those meals. This is especially true if you're traveling. Let's say you're going somewhere for a week. What? That's like 21 meals total max. You can't waste one of those. That's the cost of a meal and a plane ticket. Okay, as you can tell, I take my eating and food very seriously, and so should you. Alright guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. I'll see you later.